all points, all the finger points to kind of that situation with the policy.
Yeah, and like you said, nobody's excused from the drug.
That's right. Even creative and WWE direct employees.
Yep. Everybody has to submit to random testings, but there was some serious testing that went on.
I'm telling you, they're testing everyone. I mean, I even drove by WWE Tower and they stopped me and said, "Hey, piss in this can."
And piss in the cup, right?
Yeah. I looked at the guy, gave him my 2 middle finger, and just kept on walking away. And he was just like,
right.
"What?"
Yeah, right. That's good. I got it. Everybody got it. It was good. All right, we back to Monday night. Let's finish this up real quick, and then we can move on to Umaga, Vicky Guerrero, Batista, the big news, some backstage Raw notes, mainly the drug testing thing from yesterday and as well as Wednesday at FCW. But we almost saw John Cena versus The Miz. They set that match up, and then it looks like we're going to see Big Show and John Cena again. By the way, going back to Extreme Rules, way too long on the Big Show versus John Cena match.
Slow, very slow match.
Very slow, but it dragged on, and they didn't start the ladder match until so late, you know what I mean?
You just knew that they were going to come close to the 11. I mean, it was like 10:28, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know.
That the ladder match ended.
Give that time. Give the time to the guys in the ladder match or the co-main event. You know what I mean? I just thought John Cena versus Big Show at Extreme was way too long. Same thing, and you knew what the storyline was going because they hyped it up so big. We know the guy can't get the STF, right? He can't get the submission. There's no possible way. Obviously, what does that mean? That means at the end of the match, of course, he's going to overcome all odds. It's
Super John Cena.
Yeah, and then you get the Superman John Cena. Oh my God, he did it! Oh my God, he got the STF. Oh,
I can see the kid. Dad, he did it. And if he can do it, then I can do it too. That's right, little Jimmy.
What it is too, dude. That's what it is. It's the kids. They do things like that. I as I grow up, I guess it's as I grow up, I lose.
It's the old Hulk Hogan promo. I mean, if you really look at wrestling back in the 80s, how it was promoted, the same thing, but just a little bit more, and I use this word very loosely, hip.
I know. I hate to come on here and sound like what's the word I'm looking for?
The old broken record?
No, just like the guy that's always sour, that always hates on WWE. They always WWE's horrible.
I don't consider you that.
I know. But there's a lot of things that it just doesn't.
You're very opinionated. You got to tell your opinion about what you feel.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to hold it back. I can't come out here and say, sometimes my real feelings on WWE. I think the company right now is horrible. You know what I mean? But I can't go out. I can't come on here on a weekly. Nobody wants to hear me or you come on here and just completely trash the product because they're all wrestling fans. You know what I mean? So it's I don't know. I think not everything is horrible, but I think, God, in the last few years, I mean, things have changed drastically. You know what I mean? It's just it's a totally different ballgame.
It's just simply a trend of time.
Yeah,
it's interesting because
it's a trend for the worse. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a trend. Period. If it's worse, if it's good. I mean, the show still pulls. I don't know what, 3 and 5.5 million or whatever. I mean, it's just like how our economy is. It goes up and down. It's a roller coaster. And right now, WWE's unfortunate creative mishaps is going down on a roller coaster.
Yeah, but you compare it to the economy. The economy, it's something that we've dug ourselves. We have dug ourselves a hole so deep that it's tough to get out of. And I'm a big fan of Obama, and hopefully he can do his thing. But WWE, it's a group of 10 guys in a creative room, in a room that thinks this stuff up. You know what I mean? So
it's cause of action. It all. The reason why I said that the economy is just the idea was the roller coaster, as the fact that you get into some really good streaks and you get into bad, and when you don't have competitive like the WWE, in this point at least, and that's the reason why, again, I stress the fact that I hope TNA does succeed is because he thrives on competition, and the only competition he has right now is himself. But, you know, this man, and Vince McMahon is what I'm talking about, this man wakes up in the morning, goes to sleep at night saying, you know what, I'm going to produce a show the way I feel because you're going to like it.
Exactly.
And then you have 5.5 million people, which, you know, a lot of them are in low-income families that are, like, thrilled and excited that Monday Night Raw is on and these storylines of hog pen matches and Vicky Guerrero's, you know, marriage and divorce, you know, these people are enjoying it. And these are the individuals that are, like, excited, and these are the individuals that Vince is trying to cater to. TNA is creating an image and a product for fans that dislike WWE, like yourself in so many cases. Not saying that you hate WWE, but obviously you certainly dislike some of the things that they're doing, which I don't blame you. You know, so I mean, that's the difference between the way that Vince wakes up in the morning and says, you know what, I'm going to produce something that, you know, that I know is good, even though 5.5 other million people that watch the show thinks it sucks.
Then here's the difference with that. You've got Vince, who's in charge of WWE, right? Makes the main calls, all the main calls. It's all through Vince, everything. Dixie Carter is the head of TNA, and she keeps her head out of everybody's business, lets the creative team. And you know that Vince isn't going to change. I'm not going to say that Vince is going to go and change. Vince has been head of creative since he took over, you know, basically since he took over from his father, or ever since his father, you know. I don't know. I just think at times, and you really can't blame, it's not all on creative, because everything creative does has to pass through Vince. You know what I mean? And it gets to that point where, you know, sometimes you don't hope, but you want to see ratings fall, because that forces the company, that forces Vince to write compelling TV. You know what I mean? And when ratings are, it just seems like no matter what, WWE is always going to have that 3.0 or higher fan base as far as
right, until they start leveraging themselves away from that creative concept that they're thinking now. But again, they're writing for PG, so this is not going to change anytime soon. It almost like reminds you of Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You're seeing WWF superstars when you wake up. I mean, that's kind of like...
The thing about it is if you looked back to the 90s or to the 80s, right? I would think that's where your PG TV would have been. Right now we're in 2009. You know what I mean? It's more hip.
But Vince is not stupid. He has UFC to compete. And right now he can't compete with UFC. Doesn't even come close. So what his vision is, not competing against them because he knows he'll get his ass kicked.
Yeah, but it's not about that. It's about what's hip right now. I mean, it's 2009. Back in the 80s, back in the 90s, the PG stuff worked. You know what I mean? And they did it back then. And then you went into the 90s. You went to the latter 90s and the early 2000s, and everything was clicking. You had the Attitude Era. Everything was, you know, right then. And now we're in 2009, and it's like you're going in reverse. If anything, the product should be more edgy, just because that's the way that TV programs are these days.
Right, and I completely agree with you, but that's not how Vince thinks.
No,
he's thinking of an overall product. He's also thinking about merchandising. He's also thinking about media, and he's thinking about producing a show that's catered to the younger audience. So this way, you know, when he does approach a Pepsi, or if he approaches a major, you know, national 500, I mean, because that's at the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the Benjamins.
Let's not forget that advertising companies already look down upon.
Yeah, you know, so he's trying to change a little bit of that perception, but unfortunately, who gets screwed at the end is us, the guys and girls that want to see some, like, extreme matches on TV, or not even so much extreme like someone getting hit with a frying pan. It's just more of edgier television, compelling, like the Triple H and Stephanie and Orton angle originally, you know, with you know, the marriage. They never even mentioned stuff like that. Is, you know, the NWO ramming freaking The Rock's, you know, through the truck, you know, stuff like that.
Doing that now. You should be doing that now. I mean, now would have been the time to do it, but the advertising and the merchandising thing is a big part of it. You're definitely right when it comes to that. But I think it's more based solely for kids right now. You know what I mean? I think it's really gotten to the point where it's so corny that there's nothing for the older fan, for the people that are growing up. It's like you're forgetting about the people that were there with you through the 90s, when times were hot, when ratings were through the roof back then, and those people have all grown up now and are sitting back like, well, this is not what I remember. This is not anything. You know what I mean? It's just, it seems like there isn't even a good mix. There's not even a good mix of, there's some things for